What's up, ladies and gents, Ghost here, and today I got some Battlefield 4 tips. We're going to be taking a look at Rush mode. So this was of course a mode that was in BF3 as well, mighty popular. It's definitely one of my favourite modes, but I realised that there are a lot of new players out there who don't really know how to play this game mode very well, or just simply aren't familiar with it. So I decided I would make a sort of basic tips video for some of the newer players out there, but also something that some of the more advanced players can use to their advantage as well. Alright, so let's talk classes first of all. Personally, I usually like to run either Assault or Engineer. Assaults are definitely by far one of, if not the best class actually in Rush mode, and that's mainly due to the fact that they can keep an attack going. Now, I'm really talking here about Rush attack, so if you're on the attacking side, you want to keep the momentum of your push going, and Assault kit players can do that by using their defibs to res people. They can throw them med kits and med packs to keep them alive as well. But don't get me wrong, Engineer kit is also extremely important. If it's a map where there are a lot of vehicles, you really need the engineers there to take those out, because otherwise they're just gonna wreak havoc on all of your team. Now, as for support and recon, I really don't like recon all that much. I mean, okay, if you're going to decide to, say, play sort of spec ops, so you're going to go with a carbine and C4, that might work okay. But if you're going to go with a sniper, it's not really good for attacking on Rush. You really need to get your team mobilized, and you have to get in there, you know, you have to attack the objective. There are far too many people who play recon and just sit back on the sidelines sniping, and while that may be fun for them, it's not really helping your team in an attacking position. Now, support can be useful in this game mode, but I would say they're more useful whilst defending rather than attacking. And the reason for this is because defenders can really set up a nice flank position, they can stay behind cover, and they can keep picking off part of the enemy team, because that's their goal, right? All they have to do is wear down the enemy's lives, and then they win the game. So they're often going to run out of ammo and stay alive for longer, and therefore they need support players to replenish that ammo. But if you're playing as an attacker, you're really going to be rushing in there, and generally speaking, you're going to be dying a lot more than if you're a defender. So ammo really isn't a huge deal. Now, that being said, support and recon classes do have some awesome gadgets, and if you use them properly, they can help your team out a lot. Take support, for example. The remote mortar is often an awesome weapon of mass destruction on the attacking team. The defenders, they will often be clumped up behind some piece of cover altogether. They'll be popping their heads out, picking off a few of your team, and then getting back behind that cover. So throw down the remote mortar if you're playing as support. Use that to support your team, to disperse the defenders and help your team to push up the field. If you're playing as Recon and you're on Rush, you should always be running with the spawn beacon. This is actually probably one of the most underrated pieces of gear for Rush, and it can be super powerful. If you parachute in there, or you get in a vehicle and you get up the field to a nice point of tactical advantage, get inside maybe a little building or something and plant that spawn beacon, it's going to mean that your squad are going to be able to spawn as far into enemy lines as possible without the enemy team actually being aware of it. So the footage from the background here is from Rush Attack, and as you can see, I'm really rushing into the objectives. I'm not messing around, and in fact I'm not worrying too much about killing off the enemy defenders. You really want to get in there and arm that MCOM any way possible, and even if it ends up getting disarmed, maybe you end up sneaking past the enemy defenders, you get to an MCOM, you get an arm off, but you don't have any of your team around you to support you and they easily disarm it, it's still going to make a lot of the defenders fall back to the MCOM, and it's going to let your team's front lines move a little bit forward, and then maybe next time you go to arm the MCOM, you will have the support of your team and you will be able to take it down. And if you see somebody, guys, go in for that arm on the MCOM, go and support them. Don't stay back on the sidelines hiding behind cover. I mean, I know it may mean that you're going to die if you rush in there, but pushing forward with a group of guys, a few squads, is really the only way that you're going to push the defenders back. And all too often, I will end up being in a squad of guys. We're doing as much as we possibly can to push up into the MCOMs, but our entire team just isn't supporting us. Everyone's just standing on the sidelines, you know, got the long-range snipers out, and they're just sniping away. Nobody's really playing the objective. So that is really my number one tip, is just to actually get in there. Now, of course, on some maps in Rush mode, vehicles play a big part, and both big and small they're equally as important. Obviously, armor and attack killies and bigger vehicles like that, with a good set of engineers in them, can wreak havoc on the enemy team and do a great job supporting your own. But some of my favourite vehicles are actually things like quad bikes, jeeps, and vehicles that are really going to get you straight to the MCOMs when you spawn in as fast as possible. And often you can get an arm off before the defending team really realise what's going on. Now, another thing to keep in mind is that when you take out a couple of MCOMs as the attacking team, you won't be able to move up the field until a certain amount of time has passed. And once that time passes, you really want to get moving straight towards the next couple of MCOMs and get as far into the defender's territory as you possibly can before they start pushing you back. And if you actually time it, you can figure out how long it is between when you take out the MCOMs until when the map opens up, expands, and you're able to run to the next two MCOMs. And if you time it correctly, you can actually start running early. So you're running into the out of bounds section of the game where you'll get the 10-second countdown until you die. But if you time it right, that will actually disappear just when you get to like 1 or 2 seconds, and you can have a head start getting towards the MCOMs. Now, something else that a lot of players may not actually know is that while you're arming the MCOM itself and you're holding down that button to arm the objective, you can look around, you can reload your weapon, you can fire your weapon, you can do anything, and often you'll be in a situation where you're the only person arming the MCOM and there's nobody in your team around you, so you have to rely on yourself to defend yourself. And you can reload your weapon, you can be aiming at doorways, and if a guy runs through, you can shoot him even whilst you're arming the MCOM. So once you've actually gotten into the MCOM, you've armed the objective, and now you have to defend it for a while. This is also a very important stage of the game. So you want to take up a position that's not too obvious to the enemy. Now, obviously with each and every MCOM, the surrounding is different. Sometimes it's inside a building, and at any point in the game, that building can be at varying levels of destructibility. So the building might be completely leveled, or it may be totally intact. And as you can see here in the background, this building is intact, and I'm taking up a little position here in a hidey hole. I know that there's going to be guys running in, rushing in, going straight for the aimcom like a beeline, trying to disarm it, and I'm obviously able to just pick them off. Now, smarter players will come into the house first, and they will scour the area for anybody who's hiding out like I am. But you really don't want to stay huddled next to the MCOM. A lot of players will do that. They'll arm the MCOM, and then they'll just sort of stay there because lots of people will throw grenades on the MCOM to try and kill any potential attackers that have armed the bomb and are just sort of huddled there together, protecting it. And likewise, you also want to do that as an attacker. If the MCOM is outdoors, you have it armed and you know there's going to be defenders around it, close by it, trying to disarm it, you want to throw grenades at it. And that actually brings me to my next point, which is the best grenade to use in Rush. So I've gotten all of the different grenade types unlocked, and I've tinkered around with all of them. I had a little play, but I have to say that for Rush, my favourite is probably the impact grenade. Now, if you don't know what this is, it's essentially a grenade that when it hits the ground, it will bounce, and a split second afterwards, it will explode. So you can throw it up in the air, and it doesn't matter how long it's in the air, it won't explode there until it actually hits a surface of some sort. So it's really nice outdoors when there's an MCOM and there's a lot of defenders around it, or attackers. If you're on the defending team, you can just lob impact grenades up in the air, aim them for the MCOM, and as soon as they bounce and hit the ground, they will explode and kill all of the people around them. Now, the explosion radius isn't that huge. It's pretty similar to the V14 mini grenades, so it's not quite as big as the frag grenades, but they definitely do the trick. Another alternative that can be nice in certain situations is the incendiary grenade. This isn't really designed to take people out, it's more of a deterrent really, so it blocks passageways, and if you've ever played Rush on Operation Locker, it is a clusterfuck. There are small narrow passageways, and if you stick an incendiary grenade in there, it effectively stops anyone being able to get into that area whilst the grenade is active. So get good at using grenades, guys, get good at lobbing them up in the air and aiming properly on your targets, because that is also one of the best ways you can help out your team. If somebody's armed the objective, or let's say you're defending and the attackers have armed and you're not close enough to the objective to really make a difference and take out any of the attackers, lob some grenades, do anything you can to stop them taking out that objective. Now, this next point goes for defending, and this is something I covered in BF3, and it's also something that I see a lot of people not bother doing. Say you're defending and you lose both of the initial MCOMs, or maybe it's the second pair of MCOMs, it doesn't really matter, as long as it's not the last two. So you lose both your MCOMs, and soon enough, the enemy team are going to be pushing up to the next pair. But let's say they take out the MCOMs and you're still alive. So you're still around the area. The enemy attacking team haven't noticed that you're there yet. Don't fall back. Don't run away and get out of dodge straight away, because what's going to happen is their tickets are going to reset. So they're going to get 75 or however many lives that is currently set on the server for the new pair of MCOMs. But you can actually whittle those down quite a lot. If you stay hidden, wait till they all run past you and they think all the defenders are dead, they're running up to the next pair of MCOMs, you can really get a nice flank in the back or from the side on them. So that's about going to do it for this video, guys. Those are all the tips I have for you today. I will of course be having more coming in the future. I'm thinking soon about doing a video on all the different grenade types. I'm also going to be doing a video on the assault class, so stay tuned for that. And if you're a new player who's watching this video, I know that rush mode can seem a bit daunting. It's definitely one of the most strategical game modes, but it's really a good idea to play it. It will really strengthen your skills in other game modes as well. But whether you're a new player or not, I hope you found these tips useful. If you did, maybe you can do me a favour and hit that like button down below. I would appreciate that ever so much. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.